ndibadde nga ku left side oba right back kuba kusaidia dio okubeera nga ku center ate okubeera tinga movements ezabala okubeera nga penetrating back line yo n'ebiseera bisinga kiva nnyo ku middle of the park defense midfield agenda okubeera nga yeisatya mbeera y'okubeera nga screening nga midfield eno balina okubeera nga rotating nga mostly nga bagenze mu alternations ez'enjawulo nga bakola yandibadde nga movements
Lokech, the Lion of Mogadishu. He is a hero, a statesman, brave fighter and a Pan-Africanist. Major General Paul Lokech is one of the best UPDF commanders who have earned the army huge respect on the continent due to his dedication and selfless service. His military career includes service in various leadership capacities, including 2 tours as the command of the Ugandan contingent to Somalia as part of the peacekeeping force, where he performed very well, earning him the title, the Lion of Mogadishu, from the Somalis.
That's one of the reasons that made us move out to ensure that we take the war to Al-Shabaab and push them far away from inflicting casualties on the civilian population within Mogadishu.
He has also served as part of Uganda's peacekeeping forces in South Sudan. He was part of Operation Safe Haven, a UPDF operation in the Democratic Republic of Congo intended to neutralize the Allied Democratic Forces. His first tour as command of the Ugandan contingent to Somalia, commanding battle groups 8 and 9 between 2011 and 12, he registered lots of success. It's at this time that the UPDF managed to eject Al-Shabaab militants from Mogadishu in 2011.
When we came to this theater, it's a bit difficult because we are fighting in a built-up area. So the best we had to do was to adapt. We had to adjust ourselves very fast to fit within that type of fighting. Of course, fighting in an urban area or urban terrain is the most difficult warfare for any military in the world. The challenge of an urban warfare, in particularly to the UPDF, was that we had been fighting counterinsurgency in an open terrain. Mostly when you look at the northern part of Uganda, we had been operating in southern Sudan and then Congo areas. This is a different terrain from what we have got here.
Here, when you have not controlled the corridors and the tall buildings, that's where the problem is. But once you have already controlled the corridors, you have already constructed the escort barriers, and you have entered the tall buildings, then you take the day.
In the built-up areas, we find that the enemy, Al-Shabaab, and with their foreign allies, because Al-Shabaab is being backed by foreign fighters. And then you find they have dug tunnels. They were fighting along tunnels. And these are new concepts we did not know. They had bunkers within the built-up areas. They have dug tank ditches so that in case our armored vehicles are moving by, they could always fall into those tank ditches and they target it. But all the same, we had to move hard to ensure that we overcome those challenges, and we did. The only option is to move forward and take the war to the enemy. Because we were sitting in one place and the enemy could keep on throwing mortar shells in our positions. Even the airport was under threat. All our roads, our lines of communication were under threat. So the best option was to move the enemy far away from our position. So first phase was to move towards Bakara. Not to capture Bakara, but move towards Bakara. And we achieved that around the 28th of May. We achieved that, and that is Wana Road. Second phase was to get Bondere. And when we got Bondere, it gave us now, it expanded, it created, it gave us now room to move on the enemy from a lot of prongs.
He also commanded the UPDF in September 2011 to expel the Al-Shabaab militants from Bakara Market.
The economic hub that Al-Shabaab had been using to raise funds or revenue to support its operations, and that was Bakara. Mogadishu Stadium is so strategic to us because it controls the inlet into Mogadishu. So when you are sitting on Mogadishu Stadium, you control the bigger inlet into Mogadishu from Denley. Currently, the enemy can only use Afogoye, Denley, and then come to the stadium. Via the stadium, they could go to Bakara. So when we closed the stadium, that means Bakara became irrelevant to them. They could not defend Bakara anymore when we captured him.
I just hope their stories will still be told.
He was briefly sent to Moscow as a military attaché to the Ugandan embassy and to the 2nd Division in Western Uganda to replace Lieutenant General Peter Irweru for a special assignment to monitor on behalf of the guarantors of the South Sudan peace process, the assembling, screening and demobilization of the armed forces in South Sudan.
Forgotten, our heroes so brave and bold. Our heroes have been forgotten. Our heroes so they got old. Our heroes have been forgotten. Our heroes so brave and bold. Our heroes have been forgotten. Our heroes so they got old. Our heroes so they got old.
Why he's not holding this gun so that his DNA does not remain on the guns when we take it to the lab? I think you understand that. He will become a suspect. Yeah. So this is one of the guns which was used in the attempted.
Yeah, both of them, because people will not know the difference.
Yeah. So you can then see that these were the guns, even in my footage, these were the guns that Master and Kanebe were holding.
Yeah, to make them short.
Yeah. Now the same cartridges from the lab indicate that it was the same cartridges that was got at Kuwait. That's how you. Kawawa Mustafa Ramadan friends, ladies and gentlemen. Yesterday in my brief to you, the media and the Ugandans at large, and you know we are dealing with very hard criminals. And when you are dealing with hard criminals or terrorists, it takes time for them to break down to give you information. These characters are trained not to easily give information. It is part of their training. What is important to note is when we are going for some of these things, it's not a picnic. We are not dealing with normal people. We're not dealing with the media people. We are dealing with sophisticated people who are well trained. And when not handled, they can even harm our forces. In other situations, which we haven't yet seen here, when you are going to handle these people, you need also to be very, very careful. Others even blow themselves off. I have been in those situations myself. So there is nothing new you are going to tell me. These guns, you see, with terrorism, no particular person holds the gun. They just use it for particular operations. But the leader of these guns was Master. And that's why Master is so keen to these guys. Because of other information we don't want to give you, because it should help us tomorrow when we are taking them to the courts of law,
I would arrange all these other suspects to talk to you, but I'm not going to do that. Our team are working 24/7 to ensure that we break this cell. And we are going to break these cells with evidence, not lip service. We shall act, and we shall act very firmly to ensure that we get these criminals to book. For the safety of our people and the safety of the property of the people of Uganda. Now, I hand over now the media fraternity to Mr. Enanga.
Thank you, sir.
I know you are very familiar with Mr. Enanga.
That's true, sir. Sorry.